This week it's been a great 7 days. We on J15 we celebrated 113 years of service to mankind, and then got to see a beautiful brown woman that's a sword go into the White House and represent the Divine Nine and the HBCUs and just little girls across America. I got to see my baby girl read the book today, Who's Your Superhero by Vice President Kamala Harris, and we talked about it after, like, who's your superhero? And the beautiful thing is we all are superheroes, and that's the message of that's getting across, like, the superhero in each of us. So hey, my superheroes out there, the tides are changing. Hi, Mom. And thank you, fam, for always supporting us and raising the vibration where you are and where we are.
No doubt. So life comes at you, right? There's a lot of ebbs and flows with life. Rashad said, what's the topic today? Well, we're going to get into that. Life comes at you. It's ebbs and flows, right? Ups and downs. There's good, there's bad, and different. A lot of it is really how you perceive it, really. A lot of it is how you could either look at it as a bad day, or you could look at it as a day that teaches you lessons. Well, those things trickle over into your relationships, into marriage, into friendships, right? The ups and downs. So wifey and I were talking, and we were teasing one another a little bit, because in our relationship, even though we do, coaching for individuals and for couples, people that want dating or married, or if we sometimes we do group sessions or whatever it is that we're doing, right? When we're doing these coaching things, we always try to keep it real, keep it authentic, and be transparent. And although we do that, and we've been blessed to really talk to a lot of great couples. We've helped couples get married, and we've helped couples stay together, and some of those things. All relationships comes with the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs. And so we thought it being transparent, a little bit today. I was teasing her because the other day we were trying to go somewhere, and it just seemed like my wife took forever to get ready.
We were just going from one house to the next house.
Yeah.
So, because you can't really go nowhere right now.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like we was going out of the country or anything crazy, but still going from one house to the other house, and we didn't have an argument about it. We laughed and joked and teased. We got
to share some flaws with y'all. Flaws.
So we want to talk about the ebbs and flows of relationships. This is one of those things. And so I would have to ask to the women out there, and maybe my wife can explain, why are you guys so slow when it's time to get ready for something?
Okay, so first of all, you're making a gross generalization that all women are slow. Why don't we say there's usually one partner in the relationship that may take a little more time to prepare.
And she's usually of the female gender, right? Usually.
So, I can't speak on behalf of all my sheroes out there, but what I will say is, becoming an adult, you have to be on time for so much. I mean, especially now with Zoom and all these e-meetings. But not only that, like, even if you are in person, a lot of times you really need to be on time, because you can't be with other people. Your appointment can't cross over with somebody else, right?
We have scientific evidence right here. Leifer just said 80% of women. Okay. Oh my God! Now that's scientific. 80% of women are late to everything.
If it's not pertinent, it's like, what are we rushing for? Like 5 to 10 minutes is not going to cost you, and then I'm gonna leave something at home, and I'm gonna be pissed.
That's true.
I left something. I don't have my lipstick, and a lot of times, what you rushing me for is because you trying to get from one house to the next TV to watch the next game, right? You got me on a game timeline.
But what about important things? There are some important things that you will have us late for.
Then we're going to have to drive separate sometimes, right? Well, our pastor told us a long time ago that the way to clear that argument up is to drive.
Make sure you have two cars first. Make sure you have two cars. So, fellas, we want to hear from you that's on here. And the ladies, too, we want to hear if you have something, chime in. We're just talking about some of our flaws. You know, and none of us are perfect. We have our ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of life. But when we have those things, we try to, because those little things can become a sticking point where it will cause you to trip up and not be getting along. And then when it comes to something that's really super important, that's real serious, you know, life or death, then you're not able to make it through that. So you want to try to make sure you try to tackle the little things. Rashad said, 2 cars, gas ain't free. Yeah, but we're going to be late, man. We're going to be late to everything. So you want to try to get over and get through the little things. So these are some of the little things we just talked about. Just having fun, talking about the transparency of relationships.
Okay, so fellas, since y'all want to be on time with everything else, let's talk about that honey-do list that's probably been there for about 6 to 7 months too long, right? Okay, so how come you on time for the game, for going out the house, but the honey-do list, why does that take so long? Why is there procrastination in some areas, which I would argue are really more important than the other areas? Why isn't there consistency across the board?
Well, wait, they get done though, and they get done correctly, and then they get done nice. They just don't get done when you think they should get done.
So maybe there should be like a rule of, so basically what you're telling me is there's some kind of unspoken timeline on the honey-do list, like the honey-do list doesn't expire?
Oh yeah, as long as it gets done and it's done correctly, then we good. As long as it gets done and it gets done correctly. But being late is like, oh man.
So maybe then we got to come up with a barter. Like if I'm on time to this, then we got to swap. Okay, so if I'm on time to the next game on the couch.
Oh, it's not always just games. Whatever.
But if I'm on time going from one house to the next, then something on my honey-do list gets done. How about that?
Oh, I'm down with that.
So
see there, so
like
some agreements, right? We're making some agreements. So the next important thing that you're on time for, then we can knock something off the honey-do list.
That's what I'm saying. Let's
I love
let's this fun.
This honey-do list ain't gonna never get done because she ain't gonna never be on time.
Oh, wait a minute. But one thing we are a competitive family. So that might
okay.
So hey, we giving y'all some real life techniques here.
So we gotta have some agreements because boy oh boy, I tell you, like sometimes and when you're in a rush and then when you're in the middle of it, so we're laughing now, but when you're in the middle of it, oh, it just frustrates you so bad.
Yes,
the honey-do list for you frustrates you, and me, you being late frustrates me. But what we're trying to do is you're going to have those. We talked about this a few months ago about there's going to be some disagreements and some discrepancies in your relationship sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it shouldn't be I'm not talking about, it's different if you're talking about like breach of trust and things like that. But I'm talking about when things like this, when things aren't going your way and little nagging things like, I'll give you another one, fellas.
Wait.
I'll give you another one, fellas. Here's another one. When you say you hungry, when wifey says or your girl, your significant other says that they're hungry, they want something to eat.
Okay.
And then you start naming off places and they say no to the first 15 places you say. And you know there's really one place that they really want to, only for you to get back to that original one in the first place.
But you've done that to me too, because there's been some times where I'm just more the guilty party. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and then on top of it is this. So check it out. So first of all, you say no to 15 restaurants. So I'm like, well, what do you want? And then when we finally do decide, we get to the restaurant, and what happens? We sit down and you try to tell me what to order so you can get what you want to eat, and you order your own thing. Well, not sit down now. Right, but takeout. So then we sit down or we order our takeout. You get what you want, and then you try to coax me in to get something that you want too, so you can be able to taste both things that you like. Lord have mercy.
Right?
Oh, okay.
Hey, somebody out there, if you feel me, you know, I do love it. I love that we can air it out. The first thing, though, that is apparent is that you got to be able to talk about it, because that stuff does
have to be able to talk about it.
Annoy you. This week, I had I had purposefully called Ken at work while he was away from me to thank him, because I noticed at night he would get in the bed and only turn down one side of the bed. So now I gotta wrestle with the covers and the blankets when I get in the bed, because you might be rolled over on part of mine and I gotta wrestle to get to the other side. So I was like, can you please turn down the whole bed, not just your side? Take my pillows off too. And so I noticed that he did it, and I had to give him props. So I am working on, if I notice some improvement, going there and making sure I say, hey.
And I think that's big, because fellas want to be complimented too. You know it's our ego and stuff, but we want to be complimented. Ladies, you aren't the only ones that want to be complimented. We want to hear, that we look nice. We want to hear that we're doing something. We talk about this all the time, right? If it's always, honey, let's talk from the woman's standpoint, and you're like, oh God, what did I do now? And you're like, in your head, like, what did I do? What did I do? Did I leave the toilet seat up? Did I forget to do this? What did I do? What did I do wrong? You don't always want to have a nagging session when you hear that, right?
Right.
So sometimes you should have a compliment session. I like that,
Yes.
So what about that? Before, in management, we learn, and some of you that are managers and supervisors in management, you learn what's called a compliment sandwich. When if you have an employee that does something that's not correct, or you need to do corrective training or corrective action or write them up, in management you learn to begin with a compliment, tell them some things that they've done good
Right.
during that week, done well. Then you may put the corrective action in the middle of it, and then you end with also telling them other things that they've done well. Mm-hmm. So I guess your hope is that they've done enough well that you be able to have all of that to compliment, right?
Yeah,
so maybe that could happen in relationships. Before you point out what's not right, you compliment. You give a compliment, and then you talk about it. Then the corrective action, and you voice.
That's true.
You voice what you think should or could be better.
Uh-huh.
And then you end it with a compliment, at least a kiss or something.
I'm on board with that, and
right.
I think if we could stop, pause, and have presence of mind enough to do it, then it'll go a long way. It's just when you're in the heat of the motion, and I do think there is some credit to keeping a list of the times you did not nag, or the times you could have but didn't. What do you think about that? Let's have an air out session, because we have done that on the spot sometimes. Be like, okay, I could have called you out on this, that, and the other. Like today, I opened up my microwave, and there was some splatters on there. And I was like, y'all, I wanted to call him right there and be like, why am I cleaning splatters out of a microwave I have not used in the past 5 days? But I didn't. I said, why would I bother him right now? But I wanted to so bad. So I put that away. Now I'm telling you now. I should get some credit for it.
So wait, so you complaining through our live course session.
No.
I see what's happening.
What I'm saying is I didn't get you on that one. I could have. But I'm kind
of... No. I appreciate that you didn't. So there are times that you could nag, or we're trying to get away from that word, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Voice your displeasure of something when that happens. And then we should always be appreciative. So
Ken, what about that? How would you receive that if we had I could have called you out on this, but I let it ride?
Well, this cracks me up, because when we first started dating, we were into it for maybe a year or two, and we were dating, and we were and one time something you complained about, and I started telling you all the things that I don't do. I'm like, well, I don't cheat. I come home when I'm supposed to. I don't do this. I don't do that. And you're like, hold up. Wait a minute. You want me to give you credit for doing something you're supposed to do?
Yep, I went there.
You want me to give you credit for being the man you're supposed to be? The man you told me you would be when you said I love you, all of those things, right? So, I think that's huge. So yes, I think compliments are good on both ends. It shouldn't always be the woman receiving the compliments. It should also be the man receiving those compliments. I think you definitely should talk about those times and those moments when you probably could have nagged and went there, but you didn't. Yeah. I think that's huge. Let's see what's going on in our questions here. If you hold that in, does it make the spouse feel like you're holding it for ammo? It can. Mm-hmm. Well, and so that right there is the maturation of the individuals in the relationship. If you're mature and you're in a mature relationship with a mature person, then we always talk about this. We always coach our couples that even in a disagreement, if we're bringing up past stuff and we're throwing low blows, there's some immaturity going on in that relationship, you know,
Right.
and there's a disconnect, and that's not how a relationship should be. That's not how a friendship should be. That's not how anything should be with anybody that you say you love.
Right.
You know what I mean? If they take you to that level, then you probably need to really check.
Yeah.
You know,
this is what this would be an exercise that you would do in a playful way, not all the time, but it actually will show you how much you've grown. Because technically, he's gonna be oblivious, and you're gonna be oblivious to your blind spots. But like, he'll be like, you know, the other day you just went to sleep, left the kitchen done, I cleaned it all up. You know, did you even recognize? And be like, you know what, I did, and I meant to say thank you. Thank you for doing that, or whatever it might be. It could be something that you just wanted to know. Hey, did you see me? Or letting you know, I have grown because I didn't call you out on this. I wanted to, but I didn't because I realized it wasn't worth it.
Right. No doubt. No doubt. And Leifer says, I think it's good to discuss when there's no smoke. It allows you to set expectations and transparency much better, free of contention. We try to do that our best. Do we have our moments where we fail and we don't, and we kind of get into our little bicker and biting in those moments? Absolutely, right? That's what relationships are. You'll have those. But we really, really try to be as conscious as we can about, like right now, this week was good, things are good. So we may have a Friday night moment where we just talk about, you know, different things that went on. Like you said, when there's no smoke, because when you get caught in the heat of it, sometimes, you know, and you get there and you don't really hear, and then you're just you're not really listening to each other. You're just talking to respond. You just want to get your response in and get them told, you know, and so you don't want to have those moments. You want to have the least amount of those moments as possible.
Right.
So definitely talking about it when there's no smoke, I think is a great thing. You just gotta and so the years, the months, the days, the weeks are great barometers for you, because you can say every 3 months we're gonna maybe have that discussion. Every 6 months, if 3 months is too much, every year. On our anniversary when we met, you know what I mean? Whatever, we want to have those discussions and talk about. And what you go to talk about is not how to make the other person better, what you as the individual can do better.
Yeah.
You
know? It reminds me of testimonies at church where people be like, this and this happened, and the old me would have did this. Look how far I've come.
Look how far I've come.
Because you really are. You taking checkpoint of yourself, but you sharing it like, babe, and they'll be like, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. I think it's very, very important. And who said celebrate? Yeah, Leifer said, it's amazing how I understand this, but I suck in it in real life. Hey man, I even as a coach, even as somebody, you know, that talks to people and coaches and counsels couples, I still get caught in it sometimes, and his ego and that little boy come out, and I feel like maybe she's nagging like my mom. So then I just don't. I'm like this. I ain't listening. I ain't gonna do it.
We
you know.
did that last night on something, and then we had to stop. You were like, wait a minute, that was ego.
That was ego.
Like, yeah, it was.
Yeah, we got it. And I think that's a good thing. If you can find ways to put a little humor in it, to lighten it up a little bit, and say, well, wait a minute now, or just call each other on it before you really, really get into the heat of it. And hopefully the maturity of the person will be able to receive it and say, you know what, you're right. You're right. I was getting ready to go there. Let's back it up. Let's rewind. Anything to keep the relationship, the friendship, whatever it is, the interaction as healthy as possible. Anything.
And one thing we did last night, we were talking about, because I have this way, I don't know if it's due to my career, my training, what. Ken says I ask him the same question 3 different ways sometimes, and he's wondering if I am trying to
get to a certain result, a certain answer,
or question or see if it's like the same truth or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. So we were talking about it while not in the heat of the moment, and what we came to the conclusion is he's gonna tell me next time that he perceives me to do that. Because for me, asking questions gives me clarity on making a decision and on moving forward. But for him, it makes you feel like what? You could speak for yourself.
Well, I was in law enforcement, and I'm a former military person. And in all of it, you take these tests. If any of you have ever done it, and they do it in these aptitude tests, right? And a lot of times, it could be 100 questions. They may ask you, it's really 10 questions out of the 100. They're really just asking you 10 main questions, right? It's the same 10 questions, but they're going to ask you those 10 questions 10 different ways, which takes you to 100. And so I feel like that's what she does. It's a question that she's asking. It's an answer that she's looking for. If she doesn't get that answer first, so she's going to ask it 15 different ways to see if my answer, and all they're doing is seeing if you're going to be consistent. That's really all they're doing in law enforcement law. They're really trying to see if you're going to be consistent in your answer.
But that's not what I'm doing. I'm not looking for consistency.
Are you sure?
I'm not looking for consistency. I'm looking for clarity.
Got it.
And I'm looking for clarity to see, did you ask the question that maybe perhaps I would have asked to ensure that we covered all the bases of the issue, like not leaving any stone unturned. But I know that sometimes it comes off as not trusting the decision making or second guessing that you didn't do it the way I would have done it. And I will say this, if you're going to allow your significant other to do something, or your partner, whatever your relationship is, then you got to hand it over and not try to control how they do it. And I have been guilty of trying to control the how, the when, and the what versus just letting go and saying thank you for taking care of it instead of trying to take it back.
So I mean, it's a compromise all the way around, right? It's a compromise. I mean, I think that's what's beautiful about this, and having this conversation, and you having it with the ebbs and flows with your significant other, really, or friendships too. Friendships have it because you have one person that gives 80%, the other one always feels like they're giving 20, or there's always somebody that's the giver and never receiving. It's not reciprocated. And if you're always the person that's doing the giving and never receiving any of that goodness back,
it's gonna feel lopsided.
Or if what you receive is always on the negative, then that's tough. That's harsh on your partner. That's harsh on the friendship. That's harsh on the psyche of the relationship, whatever's going on. So you don't want to be that person. It should be 50-50. Now, understanding there are going to be days, times, moments.
It's going to be 50-50 over an average, because it's not going to be at the same time.
That's what I was getting ready to say. There are going to be days, times, maybe months sometimes that you kind of have to carry the load because maybe that person is just not feeling 100%. But that's the beauty of having a friendship and a relationship, right? And that's the beauty of being in it with somebody that's mature. Okay, I see you're not at 100%, so I'm going to pick up the little bit of slack over here and handle it till you get back on your feet, until I see that you're good again. Yeah. I mean, we had to literally do that physically when B went through what she say?
Yeah.
Feels a little like interrogation. I'm gonna oh boy, yeah, I've been on that receiving end of the interrogation. We had to literally go through it when you had a surgery, and so there were things physically around the house that you just couldn't do,
right?
And it also took a toll on you mentally, a little bit, so I had to pick up the slack, and I would tease and be like, "Oh, I'm a single parent" and stuff like that.
Right.
And shout out to all anybody that's a single parent that's raising children on their own, or anything that's doing that. You are the real MVP. There is anybody that has ever had to do that. My heart goes out to you, because that's serious, man. To be able to take care of children, especially if you have more than one. But even if it's just one, all by yourself, so that's really big. But we had to do that, and you don't want to be in a relationship and still feel like you're single. You know what I mean?
And it can crop up in different areas. So for those of you that are co-parenting, we have to be mindful of our parenting styles feeling different, so that he doesn't feel like he's in a single parent in the disciplinarian area, and I'm a single parent in the planning of activities and educational oversight.
No doubt.
So you do have to raise your hand and just say, this is how you could support me better. But do know that even now, as we try to navigate the changes of the world and our relationship and all of those to combine, when someone is working on something or meeting you halfway or trying something new, there's going to be times where they slip back into what's comfortable, and you just have to bring it up again, like, this is how you can help me. This is what I need, without letting it boil up into a negative comment.
Yeah. Where then you just slamming them, and then you're just drowning them with complaints, and then they're like,
there we go again.
Here we go again.
Help me.
Yeah,
it's easy to do. So just understand, while someone's in the process of trying to grow in that area, it's not going to be immediate. And true change usually doesn't happen overnight, unless it's some kind of spiritual epiphany or something. I don't know.
And if you really stop and think about it, if you could just get out of your way and get out away from the emotions for a minute. You said something. We're dealing with the world. We're dealing with family. Then we're trying to deal with two individuals coming together, and then you're still dealing with some of the baggage in as an individual. So you have all of these things you're fighting and going against, right? Going against, and all of these things that you're working towards to just get there, to just show up as your best you. And then on top of all of that, if you have days where you just like, I just don't want to do this anymore. We were talking to our daughter the other day, and she just said, I just don't want to adult anymore. And there are days where you just like, I just don't want to adult anymore, like seriously. And so if you're there and you're feeling that way, then what? Do I just check out on you? So now neither one of us are adulting, then nothing is getting done. You know what I mean? So somebody has to adult. Somebody, and so it's very important that you realize and recognize what's going on in the world with your significant other, with you, and be honest about it. If you're not, I would rather my wife say to me, get up in the morning and say, babe, I'm not feeling the best today. I'm not doing well. Can you just pick up the slack today, or can you just handle some things? I would rather you just say that. Don't assume that I know. Now, there is a good chance that I probably will, because I'm in tune with her, but don't assume. I'd rather you just tell me, hey, this is what's going on. I'm not all that great right now. I need your help. Mm-hmm. So at least now I can make an executive decision and say, okay, I got to step it up today. I can't slack it off.
And I have said that sometimes, like, I just need you to come on home today. Don't make no stops. I need you, like wrestling, tap me out, you tap in. I need a mental health night.
No doubt.
So let's read some of the comments before we check out. We're at the half hour.
Let's check it out. So, beautiful. Rashad said it was kind of like working out. If you're not going to lose 20 pounds in one session, it's consistently working at it over time. Definitely. You're always working. You're always striving to be the best. And like you said, you don't just do push-ups for one night. You got to continuously do it if you want to get stronger. And so that's what it comes to a point where you start to work that muscle, and it starts to become a part of you. And then now you're not having to be called on the carpet as much, because that muscle is there, and it becomes memory, and then it becomes a part of your character, and it's just habitual now. And so now I'm not nagging, or I'm not complaining, or
I'm compliment sandwiching.
I'm doing compliment sandwiches, whatever it is. So hey, there it is, CoreofU fam. We just wanted to bring a little transparency to you, be authentic in who we are. We have our moments, we have our disagreements. Life comes with those things, but I think the greatest people in the world, the greatest leaders, the greatest relationships, the greatest friendships, the greatest businesses, I think thrive when the individuals involved can be all honest, just be honest and be authentic about it, and say, listen, this is what's going on. This is what's going on with me. You can tell me what's going on with you. And then we address it, and we say, okay, we're going to come to the table, even if you have to create you like a little war room, whatever it is, where you're going to go in and we're not going to come out until we iron this out, and we're going to be okay with it. And knowing that I may slip up again, just because the conversation,
where maturity comes in.
Just because we had that conversation doesn't mean that it's automatically gone,
right?
Because that just doesn't stop. So what do you think about that?
No, I agree. I agree. That's been some of our secret to success. You know, just having that flexibility and calling each other on the carpet and calling ourselves to a higher standard, and then just at the end of the day knowing that it's all in love.
That's what it's about.
Like, I know none of our intentions are to be hurtful. When you know that someone is not intending to hurt you. Now, if you are in that space where you're going for the jugular, then it's time to really find out what is going on. Like, there's going to be some, and sometimes it's not we work, it's me work. You know, first, sometimes I need to find out, but we won't go there. Tonight, we share with you guys some of the funny, reoccurring ebbs and flows we deal with. And if you don't talk about what you think could be those small little issues, the late to the events, the procrastination on the honey-do list, things we talked about.
Stop being so late, women. God, y'all late.
What? I mean, is that something that would really break a relationship up? Like, have you broke up with a woman in the past for being late?
No.
Before me. I'm still here, so it's not me. But
no, but I mean, it definitely, I mean, you...
that's not a deal breaker.
It's not a... Well, I mean, not for me, but for some men, it could be if they're late to everything. You know, if it's something important, you know, I mean, you know...
like, it could end up you feeling like they're not showing up for you.
Yeah, it could end up feeling like you're feeling abandoned. Yeah, you're not there. And you were late when and this was really important to me.
That could
be. And
so
if you're a type of person that's late, and when I say they're late, you're late to everything. That's a little tongue in cheek, but I mean, but if you are late to, I guess if you're consistent, maybe they'll understand. But if it's one thing that he's saying or she's saying, this is really, really important to me. You're late for everything else you have to be on time for this.
Right.
I would hope that you would at least try your best. To understand where your partner's coming from and being on time. Right. That would be the hope. So we love you guys. Thank you for sharing another Friday with us. We enjoy this, and we're starting to get more and more joy out of doing this. The TheCoreofU, the community of restoration and enlightenment. Follow us on IG, on Facebook, and our YouTube page, and we also have a web page. If you have any ideas, anything that you think we could talk about, we could get a group session going, just let us know, man. We're always willing, always down. We're open to let you see it all, our flaws and all. As Beyonce said, we want you to see it all, to let you know that nothing in this life is perfect. Nothing in this life is perfect. What I mean perfect mean without flaw. There are some things that are perfect, because another definition of perfect means complete or mature. And we hope that you have a perfect relationship with your significant other, that they're at least mature. And you understand that they are going to have flaws and setbacks. And I mean, you're dealing with you're with a person, you may not know their childhood, you may not know what they've gone through in their teenage years, all of these things. Maybe were in a relationship before you. All of that comes into play.
It does.
All of it comes into play. So we have to see. You have to see and be able to make it through and talk about those things. And you have to ask yourself, is the baggage that they're bringing to this relationship, am I willing to deal?
Well, and homework, guys, go listen to the Flaws and All song by Beyonce, and then go thank your significant other. Go be the big person and tell them, thank you for loving me when you come home sometimes and my hair is still wrapped up. Thank you for loving me when, own your flaws and thank the other person for loving you through them.
No doubt.
That's powerful, because that shows them that thank you for loving the real me. And I know these are some things that could be better, but I'm working on it. And thank you for loving me in that space too.
That's
so we
beautiful.
talked about flaws and alls.
All right.
Y'all.
Hey, we'll holler at y'all later on. It's Friday. We could do this all night.
Yeah,
we thank y'all for joining us and just being out, for all the comments. We try to talk to them.
Thank you for being real.
Yeah,
real
and we hope that you will continue to grow and be your best version of you. As always, we leave you in hoping and praying that you have peace in your heart and in your homes. Peace.